It is time to say bye-bye, you ugly, ugly little thing. Welcome, I'm Oz. Hope you're having a splendid day. Today we will do something I mentioned in the last video, and that is to get rid of these ugly, ugly extenders. I think they're there only due to regulations because the tires do stick out a little bit more than the car or the body of the car as such, so therefore I think they add these. And also, if you don't have the proper ET on your wheels, which I don't have, I have ET45 with 17x8 wheels, I think they are a little bit tucked in, specifically if we have lowered the car and also have a different or more camber, and having these lips that enhances or visually it makes the wheel to be appearing more tucked in than what it is potentially then. So what we will be doing today is to get rid of these. So I have actually bought a new set, but I won't be doing anything with the new set. I will use the OEM ones and we will more or less cut them. But before we get there, if you do like the content of the channel, do remember to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up if you found it informational, and also do leave your comments in the comment sections below, and let's have a discussion on this modification or any other modification you might have on your MX5 or other car. That will be much appreciated. But with that said, let's get on with the modification. So we are now looking at the fender of the wheel. Of course, I have removed the rear wheels. This is just to make it more simple and also make it more simple for me to show you what you need to do. And you need to jack the car up, of course, if you want to do this and jack it up safely. I have 4 jack stands all around the car. So now we can safely work on this piece. And as you can see, so it is this whole section here which we need to remove, and that is secured with 2, as you can see, 7mm bolts. You can also use a Phillips screwdriver to remove these, and or a 7mm socket. Then what we also have, hopefully I can show you here, is that we have a push pin and also a little screw which is also a push pin type, and that is also a Phillips screwdriver. These push pins, you just put a screwdriver or similar and you just pop this top portion out and it will come out. And if we look down under the car, we do also have a 7mm bolt here, and we also have a screw here. And what the inner fender here that we will remove, it is also secured with some clips, and I will try to show you. Well, they're not actually clips, but they're fasteners. So here you can see them, they're just pushed into place, so we can just, and it will just pop out. But before we do that, we want to make a line here. So I will try to do a line as close as possible to the fender and bumper, because I don't want to expose the area here on the fender or the bumper too much, so we want to leave some of this left. So what I will just do is take my marker, sorry for that, and we will just simply put a line on this side and we will know where to cut this. So I will use my Dremel to do this, but you can use whatever you have at hand. So what we will be doing next is to remove all the fasteners and screws, and once that is done, we can start the cutting. But before we do that, I will mark this where I want to cut it. So I will just take my pen and make a line as close as possible to the bumper and the corner here where it meets the fender. Like so. Next is to remove these 2 7mm bolts, and then we have this push pin and also this screw-ish pin, you can call it like that. So this, we simply use a Phillips screwdriver and loosen it, and then we can pull it out. The push pin, we can use a flat screwdriver to put under. There are some slots here, we put it under and just push it outwards, and then we can remove the whole push pin. And these are, we can just use a 7mm socket like this to remove these, like this. Sorry, I said 7mm, these are 8mm, nothing else. And then for the push pin here, Let's see if I can get my screwdriver in under there. Like that. And this top comes out. We just pull it out and the whole push pin comes out, or the clip. And the last one is this small one right here. Let's see if we can get this removed. If not, with these, sometimes we just have to use force and get them out. Like that. Sometimes the screw just turns, but it doesn't come out. As you can see, that was the case here. I don't know if you can see that the screw is there. What we can do is put some pressure from this side and loosen the screw, and it will come out. We then need to remove these two fasteners here. So one is a 7mm bolt again. And then we have a screw which we can really remove with a Phillips screwdriver. Like that. Now, with the two bolts loose on the underside as well, what we need to do is to pull the inner fender inside towards the car, because these fasteners I showed you, they're hooking up onto the bumper in this direction. So we want to pull it in that direction to release them. Like that. And there you have it. And we will repeat the same steps on the other side, and then we'll start the cutting. So I have now dremeled this down, and as you saw, I didn't use the cutter. I used the grinder or the sandpaper tool for the Dremel. I think that gave me good enough control. I have gone over this and filed this down so it looks nice. What is left to do is install this back into place. And what I forgot to mention when I removed this is on the bottom end of this we have a small tab, we could say, and we have a slot for it in the bumper. So do keep that in mind when you're removing this, so you just don't pull. You might break this off or damage the bumper. So we need to make sure that this goes into place on the bumper when we are installing this back in. And also, if we turn this around, if you remember, we have these tabs then which do go in on this side and clamps on this portion of the fender. So what we will do is to place this like this, and then it should pop into place, and we just look, the tab is in place and everything looks good. What is left to do on this side is then to put all the bolts and screws and clips and fasteners into place, and then we can move on to the other side. With these push pins, you pull the top portion out, place it where it's supposed to go, and push the top part in. And the last part up here is this small one. Just put that in place and fasten it. And then we have the screw and the bolt for the underside, which we need to fasten, and then we are finished with the left side of the car. Remember, don't over tighten anything because it's plastic and it will break. This is the end result, and I have to say it looks fantastic. It made a big impact on the appearance, in my opinion, and as of now this is one of the best modifications I have done, and it has been for free, so to speak, unless you then want to replace the inner liner or inner fender with a new part along the road. But as it is now, it has been for free, and it looks really good in my opinion. As you can see, we have a much more nicer flowing line on the front, on the rear fender and bumper, and it looks really good, and the wheel doesn't look as tucked in as before. I don't know if this comes through in the video, but as well as you can see the camber and also the ET and the width of the wheel do give it a little bit more tucked in appearance than potentially a more aggressive setup would give with an ET35 as an example. So all in all, in my opinion, it was a really great modification, and if you want to do it, it doesn't take that much time. Let's say all in all it took an hour to do both sides and get the wheels off, etc. So it is a very quick modification. So with that said, if you have any questions at all with regards to this modification or any other modifications, do leave your comments in the comment sections below. If you did like today's video, give it a thumbs up, and also do remember to subscribe for future content. We have something coming that will take care of the tucked in look, hopefully, so we'll see. Stay tuned for that. With that said, I'll be seeing you on the next one.